really honored to address you all. Whatever I experienced through my art, let me see. I don't have much experience anyhow, but let me see. I started painting maybe at the age of 5 or 6. I don't know. I can't. Every children could paint that time. There is no restriction. And they have their own way, and sometimes they are spoiled because of their parents ask them to say another thing and these things. But normally at the age of 5, 3, even 3, they can start painting, doing images in different ways. Like that, without any exception, I also started painting here and there, so I was drawing here and there. And according to our traditional problems or traditional way of life, lifestyle, I couldn't go to the school early age. At the age should be gone to the school because of there are some rituals and things has to be passed before. So maybe about 10 or 11, I went to the school and went to the first form. I entered into the first form because we were studied minimum to enter the school with a teacher coming to the house and were taught us like that. So from that is the usual study we all do, as any other artist or non-artist, everybody. So my turning point to the art is maybe started in 1954. 1954 there was a competition, children's art competition in Madras, and one of my art teacher in school, they collected some paintings from all the students, some of the students, and sent to the Madras. It was a museum centenary exhibition. That time Mr. Ajayakumar was the director of the museum, and he organized this competition. In that exhibition I got a prize, even the first prize in that children's group. So when it came to me and my headmaster in the school announced this, I was really surprised because of Madras State means a huge stage that time. To be one among the many children to get a prize, it's something I felt it very, very honored. Then I thought maybe this is my way, so why not I start studying painting. And in the beginning I thought I will go to JJ School of Arts. Then I looked into so many, I even sent some letters and got some programs and prospectus of, and then found it very expensive. That time my family could not afford to send me such a long distance. So my idea was to take architecture, not painting at all. That was my idea, but then I turned into painting really with the help of, let us say, I heard KCS Panikkar, about KCS Panikkar, Devan, then Nambudiri and some artists like that. And even I see so many images, art images in my house, because my brother is a poet and he used to get so many magazines, illustrated magazines from let us say all over the world, especially Soviet Nod and that little communist type of things, because Soviet Nod and not even that, there were many reproductions, art reproductions in those catalogs and those illustrated weeklies. So that inspired me very much anyhow, more than Indian paintings. I mean, Indian paintings I didn't know anything before I go to the College of Arts and Crafts, where we had a chance to go and visit all over India to see what is really our heritage. At that time we really realized there are our own riches in the so what I am trying to say, that this decision was taken, and my brother told me, you cannot go now unless you pass at least the SSLC examination, because that is the minimum you expect. Yes. Then I spent 2-3 more years and passed the SSLC. Then I wrote a letter to Mr. Panikkar, and he said, you come, there is an examination and you are supposed to pass the examination, then you can join in. It was 6 years course. Before going, I met Devan. Devan gave me some suggestions and some advice. And when I went there was an exhibition, 2-3 days examination, art, painting and drawings. So first, instead of entering the first year, I got the second year promotion when I entered it. It was difficult because there were only 12 places for the extra Madras people. Then there were students from Calcutta, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Delhi, but they all got it, but very difficult to get 12 places, you know. So I got it and I got a double promotion, and that time Mr. KCS Panikkar was vice principal, Chaudhary was the principal. We hardly see principal. He just, you can see him only in the morning. Morning means he will go from his apartment to his studio, that just to cross in front of the house. Otherwise, he never come to the class or anything. Once in a year or something, he make a round in the classes, that's all. And when he comes, he's like a huge person, and he comes like a uragon, and go to some students and they could do something like that. No, don't do like that, do this like that. He will go away, that's all the teaching he gave us. But Panikkar was not like that. Panikkar was going to every class at least once in a month, and he went around and looked at what the children are doing and things like that. Very, very conscious about their work. So, at that time, during the Panikkar's time, let us say Chaudhary's time, there were 3-4 students studied in the same school, and they got the national award, and they came to, when Panikkar came principal, they took this Santan Raj, Antoni Das, and there are 3 more persons who were award winners of national award. So he took him, and so that the atmosphere was completely changed. It was the students could go anywhere and almost ask anything what they want to any teacher or something like that, though they have some class, specific class and specific teacher. So this kind of mixture made us to have more experience and see more things than just seeing what we are seeing in the class. I think that kind of method, that kind of social contact, it is because of Panikkar who made it, I think so. So then Chaudhary left after 1 year, I think. Then Panikkar became the real principal, so he made so many changes. And first of all, he changed the craft section. Craft section was really very primitive way, very sad state. They come and they go, even sleep in the class, because they do anything, there is nothing, there is no prospectus in that. So he made it, that section also made as a modern, they asked it to do some design, modern designs and modern for furniture and leather works and things like that. So that also, there was a complete change in the school in a year. Then after 3 years of drawing, I went to the painting class, that another 2 years. So I got the diploma, first diploma in first class. Then that time I applied a scholarship from the Government of India. It's called a cultural scholarship. So I waited to get that. So when I got it in the next year, but 1 year I had to wait there to get that scholarship. So I studied sculpture and ceramic at the same time. And then I got 3 years of this Government of India scholarship. At that time I studied under Panikkar. That was I finished in 1964, all these things. during that time there was we formed a kind of association called Artist Handicrafts Association, and we started doing batik because many of the students came out of the college, had no work, nothing, and some of them got some job as a teacher in the school, or they go to the cinema field, and in cinema that time there was little work for the artists. That is, in the evening a lot of stills, black and white stills will come to the studio, and they asked somebody to color it because there was no color photo that time. So I used to work also like that. I mean, only first year my parents sent me some money. Then from second year I started some work like that, and I got some scholarship also from the 15 rupees, 16 rupees like that, 2-3 scholarship. That was enough. 60 rupees was enough for me to leave that time. So many people end up with this kind of little works, and some of them completely give up painting and go away somewhere, nobody knows. So Panikkar thought this is such a very bad thing. I mean, we have to do something. So that's why we started batik. Batik was not known in India that time. It is known especially in Thailand and Malaysia, that area, that time. But then there was one craft teacher who knew the method, the way which in India was doing. Some people, the original thing was with cold colors. Cold colors means natural colors, let us say. But in the Indonesian and things like that, they do with some of the chemical colors, dyes, chemical dyes. That's called cold dyes. Because we cannot use hot dyes because it is designed with wax. If you use hot dyes, it will disappear. So we have to find out how to make the cold colors. There's nobody told us how to make it. So this master used to know. He was asking students to make some little small handkerchiefs like things and design, and he himself go and put it in the dye. He don't say what is the dye, how it is made of. So Panikkar told me and another 2 students to go to the class, join there for a year and study handicrafts. So somehow we managed to pick up the things, because it is very simple. In the sense, the dyes he bought, it is from a market in Madras. South Indian dyes. That is that time there was something called South Indian Dyes Company. They used to make this batik, this color, the cold process colors. They have wet process also, and in every packet it is written how to prepare the color. So he didn't want to tell us these sort of things, but we found out, and we bought the color, and we experienced for about a month how to make different colors and things like that. So then that time there was Lalithkala Academy's branch opened in Madras, and Mr. Devan was the secretary of that time. Devan told us you can use the premises to practice, make the handicrafts or whatever you want. So students will come in the evening after the school, and we gathered there and started making the batik. Batik means small things first, then we made saris and blouse pieces and shirt pieces, everything. And in 1 year, end of 1 year, we made a big exhibition, and this exhibition we sold out everything, not even one piece left. Nearly 3,000 pieces we left. So all the artists participated, about 29 or 30 students were there. We were almost starving that time, some of them at least. It was a very big sum for them. The Panikkar told them to open an account and put the money there and take out whatever you want sometime, and if you have some extra money, you keep it. We will buy a land, and we will have a house there. After 1.5 years, we were able to buy the land in Cholamandal, first plot. That I was the secretary of that association that time. Until this first plot was signed, I was doing all the contact and things like that. Several times we went, but finally, because the moment you go there, the people are very hostile. They don't know what the people are doing there, why do they come there, why they ask the land, our land and things like that. They were very anxious about it. So one fellow, when we were about to come out, third time or fourth time, one fellow followed us and he told me, I will give you 1 piece, 1 acre, my agricultural land. So we bought it immediately without any hesitation. And one week after, all the people were ready to sell it. So like that, we bought little by little about 10 acres. Until that I was there. Then I was never been to the place as a because I decided to go from Madras to Delhi because that also there is a reason to go to Delhi. I had a friend, a sculptor friend. He told me, why don't you come to Delhi? That's the only thing he asked me. Let us go. So I left everything, all my stocks, painting, sculpture, everything. So I went there, and then I stayed with him. But he was staying with his brother. His brother is a artist, commercial artist. No, he used to do book designs and for the Hindi and Urdu literature and things like that. And also he was staying with Amata Preetham, Punjabi poet. So about a week we stayed there. Then she taught him batik. Then we started selling the batik, and I lived there about a year. So this is that time. In the beginning I was very fond of the paintings like Rembrandt and Michelangelo. That is the most impressive thing for me that time. I used to paint like a little bit like Rembrandt, like the light scheme and things like that. Then studies and things like that, drawings and that. I lost all the things, and let me see, I have one maybe. Then slowly I began to know the Impressionists, especially Cézanne. Cézanne was impressed me very much than any other artist. Little bit of Paul Klee afterwards. Yes. Cézanne is the beginning of my changing the things. Before that I used to do some kind of drawings and very realistic. And from there I slowly changed into sort of Cézannic cubism. It became very Braque-like cubism afterwards, with the figures and things like that. And till that time, my really hobby was going to all the churches and temples and do the night scene, just drawings of these places. I like the night scenes of the architecture, things like that. So from that, there was a lady called Sarah Abraham, who is an old student. She was a colleague of Panikkar at that time. They studied together. She visited Madras and she liked my work. I think maybe because of the landscapes and things like that, and because the figurative work she didn't like very much. So this kind of work she bought every month, almost a work she bought. So for some time. So that one and a half year there was no problem. And when I went to Delhi, she again came to me. That's called Kalayatra. She had a association called Kalayatra. Then I was sound in a way. Economically I had minimum money to pay my rent and things like that. Then I had some Delhi. Unfortunately, Delhi I didn't work very much the painting. I was still distracted with so many other things, some batik and some designs and things. Then what happened? Yes, then I was fond of traveling. That was my idea in my head. So I found a German boy. German boy was maybe about 16 or 17 year old. That's all, because he escaped from Germany to avoid the obligated compulsory military service. There are so many like that. You are supposed to do military service 1 or 2 years in all the European countries. So he escaped and came to Delhi with a Australian professor who took a car from Paris to Australia. So he found something and he told he will drive to India and he will drop it here. So he drove him from Paris to India, New Delhi. And he was staying here in Delhi. The Australian professor went away. So this man used to come and look that I was working that time in a gallery as a to arrange the things and things like that. A gallery in South Extension, Part 2. It's a small gallery, but he had another business. So then that time he used to come and look for the paintings and things like that. So he told me, let us go to Germany. I said, yes, the moment I can, I'll go. Then I used to study a little bit of German here in Madras when I was in Madras in the Max Muller Bhavan. So I used to communicate with him a little bit. So then my going out with him went into my head. That time I saw the publication of Government of India scholarship to go to France and Delhi, both of them. So I applied both and I got both interviews and I got both the scholarships, but I first the French came, so I accepted that, and the other one I left. That is the thing I did to go to France. I went there as a freelance painter, visiting painter. But they asked me to go to some institution and to do something. So I went to Hayter's graphic studio. William Hayter. He was that time very known there for a different kind of method that is called print with rollers and things like that. Used not with not traditional way. It's a different way. The colors are put on the plate, only one plate with different colors. The traditional method is every color you use a plate and superpose the colors. This is a different method. So I studied there about a month. Then I didn't like it very much because it is very rigid. Then I went to École des Beaux-Arts. Then I came back from the École des Beaux-Arts after 3 months to Giots. There was a big printmaker called Giots. He used to do carburetor and powder. It's all different techniques. That doesn't matter whether you use what technique. But so finally, I returned again to Beaux-Arts. There I studied the monumental art, that with painting, huge paintings and things like that. Then also mosaic, the Greek mosaic, and fresco, because these three subjects are together: monumental art, frescoes, and mosaic. But when I went to Paris, my paintings was the kind of little bit of cubistic, figurative paintings. Then there I thought, what is something which strike me, that is some exhibitions. Some exhibitions in the sense, there is a painter, a Dr. Waltz. Waltz was a military officer in Germany, old time, and he left everything and started painting. I saw his exhibitions, very interesting. Very small paintings. The biggest one was maybe 6 inches by 6 inches, all watercolors, all abstract. So that struck me very much. So I said, why should I go for big paintings? So let me start little ones. Like that I started. Then about a year, about 60, maybe beginning of 68, I went there, no, not beginning of, end of 68, I went to an exhibition of Tantra art by Ajit Mukherjee's, that Tantra art published by published, no, he's a writer, he's editor, writer. Ajit Mukherjee made 2 books, Tantra books. One is Tantra, then another called something like that. What are the Tantra, that title. Then this first Tantra, the Octavio Paz, who wrote the preface, and which things went to England, London, and exhibited there. In that exhibition, a small part of that exhibition came to Paris. When I saw that, then it's also very interesting. So my small paintings, I just started in a different way, making diagrams, and instead of just abstraction without any visual visual forms, identifiable forms, I started doing some geometrical side into that. Then little by little it became little tantra anyhow. Tantra means for me, it's a tantra, it is geometric. Our tantra paintings are geometric, it is pure geometric. Some places they add these symbols and things like that, or images like what is it called? Symbolic images. They introduce the real geometric forms. That is, for me, that is tantra, not the theory of tantra. So little by little, I just started always small paintings. But then I became I started huge paintings in oils. That was in 1968. End of 68, I started this painting. From that onwards, I didn't change much, except the color combinations maybe. There are so many possibilities in this way of what is it called, improvisation of a triangle and squares, so that I still continue. That is first chapter.